Unlike the White House, House Republicans believe that women should be safe in intimate spaces and men should not compete in women's sports. It's why we're advancing H.J. Res. 165, which prevents the administration's radical gender ideology from infiltrating education and hijacking Title IX. Thanks to the Biden administration, the left's radical whims are also poised to infiltrate everyday American homes. The Department of Energy's new dishwasher efficiency standards would take more than 12 years for the proposed efficiency upgrades to break even and would save Americans just $1.12 per year. Consumers understand what options work best for their households, and Washington shouldn't stand in the way of their appliance.
Just days after July 4th, a day we celebrate actual freedom from tyranny, Republicans have brought up bills about freedom for refrigerators and dishwashers. I mean, you really can't make this stuff up. They have no problem taking away the rights of living, breathing human beings, no problem depriving women of their reproductive rights, stripping away freedom from the LGBTQ community, hindering families who want IVF. None of those groups deserve freedom, according to the Republicans. But refrigerators, sign them up. Apparently, nothing says freedom to them quite like forcing their constituents to pay more on their electric bills. For the record, if somebody wants to keep a 50-year-old refrigerator, that's their right. Nobody's going to stop them. That's nuts.
Sometimes it seems that President Biden can't even put a sentence together, but the administrative state we're assured that he oversees continues to churn out reckless left-wing policies. What's more, his presidency still emboldens his enablers. Together, their agenda imperils everything from the sanctity of the vote and Title IX to the availability of effective and affordable home appliances. I anticipate my friend, the ranking member, will strongly disagree with my contextualization of today's meeting. I hope he will at least echo his fellow Democrats in the committee report and take no issue with the funding levels within the measure.
You're absolutely right. I disagree with everything you said, and even more strongly than I usually do. You know, this committee should be a place where we debate big ideas, where we tackle important challenges and make real progress. But under the Republican majority, we've done the exact opposite, and this week's measures are no different. We have another funding bill that goes after the LGBTQ community, attacks dreamers, and will make Congress less reflective of the people we represent. We have another thinly veiled attempt at voter suppression under the guise of preventing voter fraud. Even though we all know the voter fraud that my Republican friends are talking about is just shorthand for the big lie that Trump pushed when he tried to illegally steal the election after he lost it fair and square. We all know what's going on here. Republicans do better in elections when fewer people vote, so they want to make it harder for people to actually be able to vote. Look at who this bill would disproportionately impact. People who change their name when they get married, including millions of women. People who can't afford to take a day off from work to go down to the town clerk and get a copy of their birth certificate. People who don't have $130 to get a passport. This isn't about making our elections more secure. It's about making it harder to vote. That is what this bill is aimed at doing. Now, we know what's going on here. Republicans are laying the groundwork for them to discredit the upcoming election. If they win, you'll never hear about this until the next election. But if they lose, they will say it is because of voter fraud. Voter fraud, which, by the way, the Heritage Foundation, you know, that right-wing think tank that you guys always associate yourself with, they can only find 24 cases of it in the last 20 years. They say this is about protecting the right of citizens to vote. For every case of real voter fraud, they want to take away the votes of millions of actual citizens. What a disgrace. We have another effort to make it easier to discriminate on campus, turning back the clock on civil rights because House Republicans continue to prioritize radical culture wars. For the record, if somebody wants to keep a 50-year-old refrigerator, that's their right. Nobody's going to stop them. That's nuts. And it's not what this bill is about. This is about Republicans giving billion-dollar companies the freedom to cut corners when they make appliances, keeping all of our utility bills high and polluting the air and water while they're at it. I mean, that's what they are in favor of. But, Mr. Chairman, at the end of the day, it's not just about the legislation here. It's about two competing visions for America. Democrats want an economy that lifts people up. We're fighting for workers. We want opportunity for kids, success for families, and dignity for seniors. We want democracy to be secure at home and around the world. We have a vision of a better future and an idea of how to get there. And these bills before our committee today once again show that Republicans are more interested in division and taking us backwards and turning the clock back. On reproductive freedom, on voting rights, on lowering prices, on holding big corporations accountable, on all these things and more, they want to drag us back. That's what their party now stands for, and that's why we're wasting time with more misguided MAGA junk instead of working together to get things done for the American people. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.